Hi, I'm Dave Kahle. Welcome to this Christian Business Insights podcast show where my goal is to provide you with practical, actionable ideas to help you create businesses and careers of excellence and at the same time multiply your influence for the kingdom. I have been a Christian in business for over 30 years, and I have personally and contractually consulted with over 500 different sales organizations. So in these podcasts, I combine the lessons that I have learned with an out-of-the-box experience and perspective on Christianity that you will find challenging. And we put that together to provide you with practical insights and ideas that you can use to live better and lead better. Welcome to the journey. Hi, this is Dave. Some time ago, one of my clients challenged me to identify the 20 most important lessons that I've learned over my career and then write about them. And at first I kind of blew it off, but the more I thought about it, I thought, that would have some value. And so I did. And actually came up not with 20, but with 25. And today's podcast is one of those 25, one of the 25 most important lessons I've learned. And, often in these podcasts, we talk about spiritual issues, but this is a business issue, or I would call it, I put it in the category of best practices for business. And that's this: they are not you. That's one of the 25 most important lessons I've learned. Now, stick with me. I was in the first year of my first management job, and I was experiencing growing frustrations. I was continually disappointed in what I perceived as a lack of motivation in my charges. Not only that, but they just didn't have the same degree of professionalism that I was expecting. They were just not meeting my expectations. And so I began to question the work of my predecessors. Why were these people, whom I had inherited, hired in the first place? And I began to contemplate a major turnover in staff. That seemed too daunting to attempt, especially in view of my lack of experience, so I wasn't sure what to do. And then, in a flash of inspiration, I had a revelation, and the revelation was this: they aren't me. They aren't me. The problem wasn't them, it was me. I had projected the habits, the attitudes, the practices, and disciplines that I had built into my routines onto them. Since I thought a certain way or did specific things, I thought everyone else did too. Instead of seeing each individual as a unique combination of attitudes and skills and experiences, I had seen them as projections of my own personality. The truth was, they hadn't had my life experiences, they hadn't had my education, they hadn't had my attitudes and skills. In fact, they weren't me. Now, that may sound so simple, but it was really a watershed moment in my career. One of the most powerful lessons I've learned. It's one of the 25 most important lessons I've learned. Since I had that epiphany, I have seen the same phenomena at work in countless of the companies for whom I have consulted. Typically, I see it at the entrepreneur's level, where a driven, highly motivated entrepreneur expects everyone else to have the same degree of drive that he or she has. And since they don't, after all, they're not him or her. Since they don't, the boss lives in a constant state of frustration. I've seen it as well among sales managers, where a sales manager expects all of his or her charges to work as hard, be as motivated and committed as he or she was in their days of sales. Sometimes the manager lives in ignorance for years. Aren't they all planning their months the way that he did? No. Aren't they all investing in improving themselves the way he did? No. Don't they have the same work ethic he has? No. Aren't they all thinking strategically and focusing on penetrating key accounts the way he did? No. The answer is no to all of the above. Why? Because they aren't the sales manager. Each of them is a unique human being. When an executive or manager finally gets it, that they aren't him or her, that can be a watershed moment in the growth of that person and that business in the same way it was for me. The change in perspective can usher in a whole new appreciation for who that person is, and it can usher in an entirely new way of working with them. It can be a single event that unlocks the potential in other people as well as in the business itself. Truly, it is one of the 25 most important lessons I've learned. Yeah, speaking of lessons I've learned, one of the other things that I've learned over the years is the importance of setting goals. Now, goals aren't, you don't set goals in order to reach the goal. I know. You set goals in order to process and identify the most important things for you to focus on. Focus on these things first. It's a process to help you prioritize what's really important. So and since I believe in that, I'm giving away free one of what I call a thinking path. And a thinking path is a step-by-step approach to some problem, and in this case, setting personal goals. And it's free. I'm going to put a link in the show notes. Just go get it and download it. It's yours. It's a course that you take. Maybe about an hour altogether, and you can come back to it and leave it and so on. So I'm going to put the link in the show notes, and more power to you. Take advantage of this, particularly this time of year. It's a good time to do that. Okay, that's it. We're done. Bye-bye.